Hey, we are asking some more questions because clearly you guys loved it, and so you should turn on your notification, click that little bell below so that you make sure you get notified whenever we do upload new videos. All right, if you had a time machine, would you go back in time or visit the future?
Ooh. I would probably go into the future.
Okay.
I do, because I feel like our memories and our minds already take us on a trip down memory lane a lot. And I have a very visual memory, so I feel like sometimes, actually, some of the things I've had to work on is like, I sort of will see the whole scene of a past thing, and then I'll like feel the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really is like sometimes the flashbacks that I have of things that happen, they still feel so real.
Yeah.
So I think if I had the time machine, I would go forward.
Part of me would really want to go back to a certain time frame. Like, there's a time when Earth wasn't as processed or exploited that I would want to go to and just kind of like
experience that. I do feel that. I like that idea
like,
too.
And even though it sounds really crazy, like the whole concept of like seeing a dinosaur.
I knew you were gonna say that. It's like I felt it coming.
Like, I don't know, like maybe I've watched one too many Jurassic Park movies, but
dinosaurs would be cool, also slightly terrifying. Yeah. But I also believe it's the same way.
Would you rather have a home on the beach or in the mountains?
Ooh.
I've actually thought about this one.
Okay,
and,
so go for it.
And this is why Bel Air is one of my places, because I get the mountain experience while also being like super close to the beach. Kind of. What food do you crave most often?
Ooh, what food do I crave the most often? I can only speak for right now. I've been really loving burritos. Like, I just love burritos. And healthy burritos. Like, I usually will get one that have like kale, and they'll have like some type of slaw, and like they'll be more of like a fancy burrito.
Yeah, like a wrap.
Kind of like a wrap. I guess the only differentiator is if there's rice or not.
Oh.
I say rice is burrito, and then veggies and only is then a wrap.
Okay.
I don't know if that's just me. I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, rice and beans burrito.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Actually, that's hilarious. I've never thought about that.
No. Actually, no. There is a difference, because I feel like with the burrito, you roll, you tuck, and then you keep rolling, and I feel like with the wrap, it's just a wrap. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Right now, I'm really into a blend of ramen and like a chicken patty, but it's not chicken, it's vegan.
Okay.
I found these like mushroom-based veggie patties. No, vegan patties, because it's not even, I don't know, it's veggies. Dude, mushrooms? I guess it's veggies. And it's like the spicy chicken. What makes you the angriest?
Ooh. It can be hard to have clear communication, and so I feel like a lot of times when the other person isn't able to like clearly communicate what they're feeling, but then they kind of also still want to attack where my standpoint is. Like, it's like, it just becomes this whole miscommunication overall, because it's like they're not sure what it is that they're feeling, but yet they still are attacking my viewpoint and my perspective. And I find myself very triggered by that, because it feels, and I know family, of course, is a very, like, it always hits home for all of us. We're very triggered by our family.
I still find myself getting angry at the government. There's definitely work that I still need to do when it comes to that, because there's certain things that just, I hear about it and it just really gets me so angry, but I let it pass, because there's no point in me like
holding on to the emotion.
You know, I just take it as fuel, and I'm like, all right, I see you guys. Now I'm gonna meditate on this very specific thing now, because I'm like, so freaking angry. Channel
the energy. It's like, okay, I'm frustrated with this, and ultimately what we put out into the world is how we can help the world. So it starts at the very basis. I feel like so many people all the time, they see things in the government and the media, and it makes them mad, and then they're like not sure how they can take a step. And I was just talking to my good friend this week about how the work starts with you starting to understand yourself, and the energy that you put out into the world literally is you taking a step towards helping the world, because it's all connected.
All right, and this is kind of like the opposite. So what always brings a smile to your face?
Okay, yeah. I really love like just being silly and laughing and being in the moment like that. I feel like I'm always like making little like cheesy jokes. So like for me, I just like laugh.
Cake.
I would say puppies.
Oh, puppies!
Yeah, like I'm always like, oh, and
Yeah.
even babies, like little babies. Doesn't have to just be my baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean puppies and kittens and
True.
even like some bomb food. Like anytime I eat some.
Ooh. Which is more important, truth or happiness?
Ooh, that is a great question.
And see, I feel like it's correlated because truth, even though it can be painful and hurtful, ultimately makes me feel happier.
And those universal truths,
Yes.
which can be very strong, like when you just have this awareness where you feel like you're on your right path. Like there's certain truths that are, it's a truth in another way. It hits you, like you feel it in your whole being, like I'm supposed to do this, or I have to. You're like, it's something that hits you.
Yeah.
So those I think are very much equal to happiness.
Yeah.
That question really ties into how you look at that, your belief system, what happiness means to you, and what your truths are. So it was hard to say, but I like the idea of sort of just tying them together and realizing that your truth brings happiness.
And
totally.
Especially when it comes to my spirituality. It's not a matter of like, oh, there's like this being in the sky. It's just like, no, she's here. She's literally feeding me because I eat fruits and veggies, and she's nurturing me, and she nurtures everyone, and that's the truth. And that is like, oh, that makes me feel so happy that this is what it is. Okay, if you could change anything about yourself, what would it be?
I could change anything about myself. Right now, for me, it's all about vulnerability and choosing to be open and moving through situations rather than maybe putting up a wall and blocking because there's this fear of not getting hurt, even though it's a really unrealistic fear because it's just a protecting, like it's like a...
It's bound to happen one way or another.
Exactly. It's like a learned behavior that we do on autopilot. It's like, oh, protect. But for me, if I could change one thing, which is what I'm actually working to change, is just to open up and be even more vulnerable and be real about my feelings and not accommodate somebody in the moment and not pacify something just because it's like, oh, well, let's just like, vulnerable. It is about being vulnerable for me.
I appreciate the duality that we have here. Because I feel like for so long I made myself so vulnerable. Like I literally adopted this concept that I'm not gonna attach myself to any certain idea or expectation, and so I just was like, all right, we're gonna just dive into these experiences and just so vulnerable that now I'm learning how to
set the boundary, kind of like create sort of
apply it in a more healthy manner, because I think I was still doing a lot of like people pleasing and thinking and putting others before myself. And I didn't really realize that that's something that I picked up. Change the way that I can sometimes get too drawn into other people's emotions. So I feel, because when I become too vulnerable, when I open myself up too much, I feel like I easily get sucked into their emotions and it just gets really cloudy.
And I mean, this is beautiful because it kind of ties back in, we were talking about this earlier before we started filming, about just this idea of pain and what that really actually means, and so I think what it comes from when you start to shift your perspective on how you look at pain. And you realize that in every moment when you start to feel something, even if it is, let's say in the example that she's giving of opening up and then getting drawn into somebody else's emotion, which is this idea of an empath, you're feeling so much of what this person's feeling, but it's changing the mindset and realizing it's okay that I'm feeling so much of what they're feeling. This is just in this moment. You just embrace the feeling. And so you don't actually have to close off. It's changing your perspective on how you feel about yourself feeling and feeling what other people feel. And just really allowing yourself to sit. It's, we're supposed to be feeling. I don't know why we all run from the feeling of hurt. We're like, we want to be in love. We want all the instant gratification. We want all the pleasure. But the reality is that this entire experience brings on a feeling, and if you just sit with that feeling rather than try to fight it off, you will actually let go of it faster.
Yeah.
You don't have to fight
true.
it. You don't have to resist the flow.
It's true.
And it's just changing. It's like these little perspective changes, which is why it's so trippy to be a human, because just all you do is look at something different in your mind out of the same lenses of your eyes, but it can change the way that you experience life and your circumstances. So I think it's really watching the mind and watching how you...
And I do see the benefits of me having experienced that and like letting myself be so open and so vulnerable, because I do feel like it definitely added a whole different layer to me.
I mean, look at where you are on the journey of your life. You know what I mean? We're here. You're a business owner. We're both mothers. You've been through a marriage. You've come out on the other side of that even stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, so all these things, it's not about avoiding hurt. It's about sitting with it and not resisting it.
Right.
Because the more that you try to sweep it under the rug, the more you try to not face it, it actually sticks with you longer. And that is the most, it's so ironic. So it's just learning those little learned behaviors and taking a little step back and looking at that and staring that fear or that feeling in the face. Just be like, I am feeling sad right now. Like, I accept you. I feel it.
I actually really love doing that. It's become I wouldn't say it's a drug, but it's become something that I just really appreciate. Like, just diving straight into it, looking at it in its eyes and be like, okay, why?
Right.
Why is that a thing?
It's because we're Scorpio, so we like a little bit of danger. So we're like, let me just look that right. Like, what is that really about? But yeah, there's going to be a little bit of, it's like a calculated risk. And even that's a perspective that we learn. But you have to look at it like, okay, I could sit here and be mad and just let that, push it to the side. Or I can look that anger in the face and look at where it's coming from. Just go a little bit to that next layer of depth of why am I actually upset? What is really bothering me about this? To the point where it made me have a reaction. It took me outside of my happiness and my calmness to react because I felt something about it. So it's really just exploring that, asking yourself the hard questions, and realize by running from your feelings that you're actually making it harder on yourself. Just sit and be with the feeling, and I guarantee it will leave faster. It'll work out for you. So
it's actually like a really great feeling. There's almost a sense of freedom and like lightness. It really is. It's like baggage that you do release, and you're just kind of like,
it's courage.
Different.
It's courage. It's courage to go into your heart and look at some of the hurt and look at some of the trigger. And I'm telling you, it is so hard to be vulnerable. It actually is a lot easier to put up, like, to act too cool and try to act like you got swag and all this stuff. Like, that's actually very easy. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable and really say what you feel. And then, like, acknowledge it. Sometimes we don't like what we're feeling. So you're like, ooh, like, it's actually, like, it might not even be a pretty feeling, but that feeling is not you. That doesn't mean that's how you are. It just means that's the feeling that you're embodying, and you have to face it. If it comes to your existence or your experience, it's like the combo of that word, then you are being challenged to face it. So I love that. I love that we got that little side tangent and this idea of pain and what that really means.
And going deep and exploring and not being afraid of the depths.
I like that we kind of dabbled on some fun questions and then really diving into truth and understanding hurt and understanding pain.
Which is what I like to call spiritual alchemy, when you can take in these emotions, sit with them, transmute them, and use them as fuel and learning lessons and growth, and just like it adds to you as an individual. It really is such a growth and evolutionary process.
It does. It's when you start to see things happen, when people are like, how did that happen for you? I don't know how you made that happen. It's because I didn't make it happen. I literally just believed in the magic and continued to do the work on myself, which when you work on yourself, you work on the universe. It's all connected. It just starts with yourself. It starts at home. Be your own.
It's the micro to the macro.
Exactly. It's all tied back into itself.
Like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment.
Give us questions. I mean, we love your feedback, and we want to really make this an interactive thing, because it's not about us, you guys. It's about, like, what are the questions? What do we need to be talking about? So thanks for coming along on the ride, and we can't wait to touch base with you guys next week.
Awesome. Bye.